I'm hitting go live, and we will see when I actually am live, which may be any second now. Yes, okay. Welcome to Tea and New Book Tuesday. I'm Lisa. I'll be your librarian today. Let me get to my slides. Let me get back to Zoom because I don't know what I'm doing apparently. Okay. Let's get into this. Right there. Yes. Yes. For once, just hit things, hit go where I want them to go. Okay. Tea and New Book Tuesday. Today we're going to start talking about February pre-orders because there are a lot of them. A ton of stuff is coming out in February. I'm not sure why. There was like a mild pause in January, and now we're ramping up again. So when I covered the hits, what I mean is books that we're buying a ton of copies, but they are going to be so highly publicized and so hotly anticipated that they're probably all going to have holds on them, if not all of the holds for all of the copies, maybe even before the new book flyer comes out, which is why I'm trying to tell you about them earlier so you get a chance to put a hold on them. And I'll go over nonfiction, of course. I'm going to speed through some series fiction so that you know if the series you're reading has a new installment coming out. But there are so many of them, I'm genuinely not going to bother trying to sell these series to you. They may be fantastic, but if they're putting out number 27, I feel like you're either on the train or you're not on the train. And then we'll go with some standalone fiction titles, some of which look really interesting. Moving on to the tea of today. Today I'm drinking Tea Forte, which I got for Christmas, and I keep it back there. Lemon lavender herbal tea, which is really good. It's like complex, if that makes sense. It's just, yeah. I really like Tea Forte, but they're so expensive. I'll ask for them as a gift once in a while, but that's kind of all I get from them, but it's almost always good. Also, I put in a survey in December to see what time works for you guys to watch the show live. And the majority response was 11 a.m. So for right now, we'll just keep it 11 a.m. I may play around with finding a way to do this live on YouTube, and I may do that at a different time. That may end up being just me repeating everything I'm going to say here, but on YouTube. And that already kind of exists. I download the recording of this video when I'm done with it, and then we post it on YouTube. But I think it would be nice if YouTube had it live the way you guys get it on Facebook. Moving on, let's talk about today's giveaway. So I have a bunch of books that I thought would be great for if you've got new goals for 2021 and you'd like to meet them. So I have Hello, I Want to Die, Please Fix Me, which is a depression in the first person. So that's by Anna Mayer Papernerdy. Don't know how to pronounce that name. I also have Die with Zero, Getting All You Can from Your Money and Your Life by Bill Perkins. I grabbed that at the Public Library Association conference in Nashville. What to Eat When, a strategic plan for your health and life through food, which looked really interesting to me. And Zen AF, which is essentially a mindfulness journal, but obviously one with a bit of a sense of humor. And it is very much a journal. Since these are tied to like very specific things you may be interested in doing or that may have nothing to do with your life, I'd like you to go ahead and pick which title, and you can pick more than one, but pick which title you'd like to win and your MPL location for pickup. And if you're the only one who wants that book, you may just get the book. If more than one person wants it, then of course I'll draw a number and correspond it to a name and then send it to that person. But I will close that giveaway on Friday at 9 a.m. Let's move on. I finished over the holidays, by Christina Lauren. I'll post a full review on Goodreads, hopefully today, if not so sometime this week. It was good in that it was entertaining and I enjoyed reading it. It's not thought-provoking in any way. It's a time loop story. So she keeps repeating her holiday vacation over and over again. And I feel like she kind of abandons that concept almost a third of the way into the book. And you just stay within the same time period, even though she's concerned about possibly looping. Because of course she would be. It was also billed a little bit as a love triangle, and it's not really a love triangle. It's just a nice story about being honest with the people you love about how you feel. It's a good idea, you know. I think if you want to read it, by all means read it. But yeah, I often read horror, so I found it a little bit too light. Okay, let's get into the books. Let's get into some nonfiction. All right, and as always, nonfiction tends to almost describe itself in its title so well that I don't necessarily have a ton of description for some of these. But Walk in My Combat Boots by James Patterson and Matt Eversman, which is coming out in February, of course. Matt Eversman, sorry, is the co-author, but he was also part of the unit that was portrayed in Black Hawk Down. Patterson and Eversman have done hundreds of new interviews with servicemen and women in multiple different branches of the military. They want to give readers a true understanding of the service that these people provide for us, and that they do for us as volunteers. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what that's about. It comes out February 8th. If you're interested in that, we're also getting it on audio. Never Enough, a Navy SEAL commander on living a life of excellence, agility, and meaning by Mike Hayes. This is about leadership and team motivation and how he's used that across multiple branches, I think, of the military in multiple different situations. If you're interested in it, we are also getting it on audio. It comes out February 9th. Animal Vegetable Junk, A History of Food from Sustainable to Suicidal by Mark Bittman. Bittman wrote the How to Cook Everything books, which are really well received and people really liked. And this is about exactly what it says it's about. It's about going from all the way from hunter-gatherer to, you know, sort of modern, highly processed foods. We're also getting this on audio, and it comes out February 2nd. A bunch of stuff comes out February 2nd. Okay. This is the one I'm trying to get on NetGalley because I really kind of want to read it. And I could read it without getting it on NetGalley, but, you know, I'll get to read it in advance and tell you how good it is, or not, if I get to read it early. It's called Guilty Admissions, The Bribes, Favors, and Phonies Behind the College Cheating Scandal by Nicole Laporte. So this is about the recent scandal and series of arrests amongst really wealthy people who were basically paying this man who claimed to be a nonprofit to help him get their kids in college, but not through accepted means, but in general through fraud. The description from the publisher says, Guilty Admissions is a soap opera / sneak peek behind the curtains at America's richest social circles. An examination of the cutthroat world of college admissions and a parable of society in 2019, when all totems of status and achievement have become transactional and removed from the traditions of ethical restraint. If you're interested in that, we're getting the book and the audiobook, and it comes out February 23rd. True Believer, The Rise and Fall of Stan Lee by Abraham Reisman. I was a little surprised when I saw the title because Stan Lee is a very grandfatherly figure in geek culture for the obvious reason that he was the head of Marvel Comics for 30 years, 3 decades, a really long time. They're describing this as the definitive biography of Stan Lee. But the image we have of him as this sort of, again, like a grandfatherly figure is too simplistic. When you get down to it, he had a very complicated life that included many successes, but also many failures. May have actually included criminal charges for one of his business enterprises at one point, and loss of control of his legacy and his fortune at one point. So if you are interested in Stan Lee, but you don't know a ton about his life, I bet this would be fascinating. As of right now, we don't have a pre-order for an audiobook on this one. We're just getting the book, but that can always change. And the book comes out February 16th. All right. Now we're going to speed through series fiction, like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Coming out February 2nd, Blood Grove by Walter Mosley, which is an Easy Rollins mystery. Iris Johansson and Roy Johansson have another one of their books, which I think is about a series that they've been doing. But this one's called Blink of an Eye. A Stranger in Town by Kelly Armstrong, which is a Rockton novel. We also have Robert Ludlum's The Treadstone Exile, which is actually by Joshua Hood. I think it's from the Treadstone series, but I don't know. It's from the creator of Jason Bourne. I don't think it's part of the Bourne series. And Jonathan Kellerman has an Alex Delaware novel called Serpentine coming out the same day. On the 9th of February, J.D. Robb has another Faithless coming out, or another In Death coming out. This one is Faithless in Death. Linda Castillo has A Simple Murder, which is actually a short story collection around the main character, Kate Burkholder. Again, those are on the 9th. On February 16th, Charles Todd has A Fatal Lie coming out, which is an Ian Rutledge novel. And then J.A. Jans has Missing and Endangered coming out the same day, which is a Brady novel. On the 23rd, we have Janet Daly's Calder Brand coming out, which is the first in that series. We also have Joanna Fluke's Triple Chocolate Cheesecake Murder, which is a Hannah Swenson mystery and includes recipes. And Steve Barry's The Kaiser's Web is coming out the same day, so that's all the 23rd. All right, let's move on to fiction. Let's get into the good stuff. Okay, so The Survivors by Jane Harper. As best I can tell, this came out overseas already, and there are a ton of reviews because of that. Our main character is plagued by guilt from a reckless mistake he made years ago. He returns to his hometown, which is on the seaside, with his family, and a body is found on the beach. That event sort of triggers a whole bunch of secrets to be revealed. That's all we get for a description. It is very scant for the description of this book. I skint, maybe. I'm not sure why. I think they want Jane Harper, who is, again, a best-selling author, and I haven't said this, I think she's an award-winning author too. I know she's won awards in Australia, which makes me think she's Australian. So I think they want you to get into it or not based on Harper's writing, which, if you like her stuff, this would be worth checking out. It is got 8,000 reviews on Goodreads, as I said, and it's putting it over 4 stars. If you're interested in it, we are also getting the audio in a large print. They may end up on shelf later than the hardcover, but either way, the book comes out February 2nd. All right. Kristen Hanna is the best-selling author of The Nightingale, much beloved. This is set in Texas during the Four Winds by Kristen Hanna is set in Texas during the Great Depression. Our heroine is a female farmer who basically, because of the Great Depression, has to choose between staying with the land she loves and forging a new life in California. It's a portrait of the Dust Bowl, of the Great Depression, and of the American dream. As I said, Hannah's very loved, and it already has over 1,000 reviews on Goodreads, which is a lot for early reviews. But they're giving it a score of 4.38 stars, which is also very high. It already has a third of our hardback copies already have holds. 2/3 are left though, and we're getting it in audio and large print. If you want to get this when it comes out, you need to put a hold on it now. I cannot emphasize that enough. Do it now. It is coming out February 2nd. Woo! We're skipping stuff. Okay. The Unwilling by John Hart. This is set in the South during the Vietnam War. Our main character has already had 2 older brothers go to Vietnam, one of whom died, one who came back violent and angry and ended up in prison. When the main character's brother, the one who was in prison and had been to Vietnam, is suspected of a crime, he sets out to prove his brother's innocence, but what he finds is that his brother is living in a very bleak and dangerous life, dealing with a lot of dangerous people who may want him framed and back in prison and out of the way. So the description emphasizes that it's very raw and that it's delving into the things that war and prison and violence do to people, but also the relationships between brothers. It only has a couple hundred reviews, which is not a lot, but they are positive. And we're buying it in audio and large print as well. If you're interested in The Unwilling by John Hart, it comes out February 2nd. Okay. Never Far, Far Away by Michael Kroita. In this, our heroine Leah witnessed a gruesome murder and is put in the witness protection program. And then her father unexpectedly dies, and her children are sent to join her because her father was caring for them. But someone dangerous is chasing them. So this is sort of a dual narrative between Leah and the kids running from these dangerous people and trying to get to each other. Not enough early reviews to comment on. However, the author is a best-selling author of novels that are very similar to this one. So he certainly knows how to write this. We are also buying it on audio, and it comes out February 9th. All right. The Shadow Box by Lou Anne Rice. This is about an artist who makes shadow boxes. One of her pieces sort of depicts a violent crime that her estranged husband committed a couple decades before. Before she can show the piece, she's attacked and left for dead. Then one of her friends is murdered. She suspects that her husband, who is running for Senate, and his powerful friends are orchestrating both the attack on her and the murder of her friend. The handful of early reviews are putting this at 4 stars on Goodreads, so it's coming in well recommended. We're buying the hardcover, of course, but we're also buying the audio, and it comes out on February 1st. Okay. The Power Couple by Alex Berenson is about a Washington power couple, unsurprisingly. One of them is working for the FBI, the other one's working for the NSA. They try to revive their failing marriage by taking a European vacation with their teenage children, and then their daughter goes clubbing and doesn't come back. At that point, they will do anything to find her, and it puts further fractures in their relationship. The early reviews are giving it a high 3 stars, considering it's kind of taken the novel, but with a couple. I think that's pretty high acclaim. But we're also buying the audiobook and the large print book, and you can get it on February 9th. All right. The Vineyard at Painted Moon by Susan Mallory. Susan Mallory is incredibly popular, New York Times bestseller, all kinds of bestseller. In this book, our main character, Mackenzie, is living an idyllic life. She runs a vineyard. She's surrounded by loved ones. She has a beautiful home. But when you come right down to it, everything she has through her husband. It's his family's vineyard. The loved ones that are surrounding her are actually his relatives. And of course, she's built that home with him. So when he announces that their marriage is over, she has a choice. She can remain at the vineyard as an employee and stay near the people she loves, but essentially in a compromised position, or she can give up everything she loves with the hope of trying to create something of her own. A handful of early reviews are giving this above 4 stars. We are also buying it on audio in large print, and it is coming out February 9th. All right, our final thought for the day. This is a spoiler if you haven't read the Harry Potter series, just go ahead and skip this. If you have, I think you'll find it funny. Harry Potter in the year, he thought it was Snape, but it was Quirrell. Harry Potter in the year, he thought it was Draco, but it was Ginny. Harry Potter in the year, he thought it was Sirius, but it was Wormtail. Harry Potter in the year, he thought it was Karkaroff, but it was Moody Crouch Jr. Harry Potter in the year, everyone knew it was Umbridge. Harry Potter in the year, it actually did turn out to be Snape. And Harry Potter in the year, it turned out to be Harry all along. If you have a chance, don't forget to enter the giveaway. Tell me which book you'd like and which MPL location you'd like for pickup. Our Goodreads group continues to grow. I'll probably be posting a new review for In Holidays on there sometime this week. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to the MPL pre-orders newsletter, which will include all of the books I've discussed today and a link to our catalog to put them on hold. Join me next week for more new books coming in February, and thank you for watching. All right, let's stop this, and then, all right, goodbye.